My name is Ryan Pike and I studied a Bachelor of Engineering and a Bachelor of Science. I majored in Mechatronics Engineering and Mathematical Modelling. I picked those subjects probably because I've always kind of been interested or fascinated by kind of technology. I very much liked the mathematics side of things and liked doing, the robotics and a lot of modelling and simulations. Like I very much enjoy programming and coding and things like that. But halfway through my actual university journey, I got to go on the Engineers Without Borders trip to Cambodia, and that kind of shifted my perspective from seeing engineering as just a profession and looking at it more as like a social responsibility. So we went to this island in Cambodia. There was like 300 families on this island, and it was probably the best 2 weeks of my life. It completely changed the way I see my role as an engineer. It completely shifted that whole mindset. And so now what I kind of said to myself after that is that I want to do things that have a positive social impact. And that's when I kind of interned at this other company, 180 Waste Group, which does kind of innovative waste management for the medical industry. Because as you can imagine, with COVID just passing by, there's such an increase in personal protective equipment and general medical waste. And we were kind of looking at how we can take new and innovative technology and actually transform the waste and try and derive some value out of it. So we, with the capstone groups that run at the end of each year, we partnered up with some pretty big companies like Baxter's Healthcare and Asaleo Care, and we transformed medical waste in a clinical setting into a sustainable concrete composite, biopolymeric concrete is what it was called. So that was a super awesome experience. And I guess, ever since I went on that Cambodia trip, I've always now tried to do something, use my engineering discipline with something that has positive social impact and corporate responsibility.
What kind of advice would you give to the new students that will be coming back to campus now and they will be starting their careers in engineering, science? Which advice would you give them?
I would try and immerse yourself as much as you can, as quick as you can, just because, I'll go to the office hours. The office hours are very crucial. There's always golden nuggets hiding in there. But no, just get amongst it. Join a club. I know this sounds cliche, but it really does add so much more to it. There's the learning and there's the teaching, which is world class. But then there's all of this stuff that's on offer behind the doors, And it's those experiences, the exchange, the short international trip. It was those ones that really added to the whole 5-year journey.
So about this project that you did, you said that you transformed medical waste into concrete. So that can be used for like construction, normally.
Yep. So it could be used for road base. It could be used for, flooring the house. I mean, the possibilities for it are anywhere where a standard aggregate or a standard cement base would go, which is pretty awesome. It kind of got stopped for the last semester because we sold one of our machines to to one of the universities up in Queensland.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's starting back up this February for the year long, because now the capstone projects go for a year. So it's going to go for a year. But I have just left that company in January, and I'm starting a new role as a research engineer at Seeing Machines. So that's working on like safety driver monitoring algorithms for face tracking and things like that. So again, it's still that social impact side, which is the safety driver monitoring. But now I get to really utilize a lot of the robotics and computer vision stuff that I love. These are obviously completely disparate problems. But what I love about ANU, especially with the systems engineering kind of attitude, is that you can break down these, seemingly disparate problems and attack them in a kind of methodological way. And you can always end up arriving at some sort of a result. So yes, you're right. The problem of trying to track eye movement and determine someone's attention is completely different to transforming medical waste to sustainable concrete. but the way in which you can kind of attack the problems, you know, looking at the requirements, looking at the performance metrics and kind of abstracting the problem and the way in which you attack it can be handled by the systems engineering degree, which is one reason I really love the degree. Plus, when it's kind of bolstered with a science degree of mathematics and robotics, and you take on a lot of problems. And that's fun. In my first year and a half, I was very much in a bit of a shell. I didn't really communicate that effectively with lecturers. I didn't really even work with my peers that well. But you know, after kind of getting settled in and a bit more comfortable, and you start opening up and you start realizing all these vast experiences, and then it was just like, from kind of second semester onwards, the last 2.5 years were just like the best. You know, I remember after the Cambodia trip, ANU, I went as like an international student ambassador. We went to China, Singapore, Malaysia, got to visit all those places and, you know, speak to staff and new parents sending their students, and then it was like go on to Germany to do an exchange, and there was and then when I did my internship, I got to go to Italy for 2 weeks. It was like this global, like awesome experience for 2.5 years. And the only kind of thing I would say is like, I wish I just had that mindset a bit earlier on. Like when you go looking for the opportunities, they just open up like nothing. It's insane. That Cambodia experience, I remember getting back and having this reverse culture shock, and I was like, what's going on? Like, it was just nuts, you know? It was like it was amazing. But I mean, all these experiences kind of add to your professional development, and you know, and then, yeah, I guess it was just awesome. They treated me, it was like a family. I love it, you know? Like, I worked as a research assistant in the Australian Centre of Excellence for Robotic Vision, worked as a tutor for the master's course in computer vision, and like getting to work alongside some of the best in the industry. It really makes you go like, wow, this is really something quite special. And I loved it. I loved it so much. A bit of a fanboy.